We're going to call the meeting to order, and if we can stand for a moment of silence and a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I ask for board member comments, I just want the public to know that the board did hold an executive session this evening from 6 till 7 at the administrative building to discuss personnel and contractual issues. That being said, we can now move on to board member comments. Are there any comments from the board? Mr. Nudie.
Okay, maybe I'll be speaking for you also.
Okay.
Mr. Wilgers and I attended the middle school 8th grade STEAM project on Wednesday, and very, very impressed. The students investigated the various disabilities for the design of playground equipment, and essentially the ultimate objective is to have this put over at the Berge Field over by the Highcliffe School. The students investigated the disabilities, designed equipment that would fit the disabilities. They did an excellent narrative of the project. They investigated zoning requirements, safety requirements, and then did a very good job of presenting it with the narrative and the PowerPoint. And it's very easy to understand why the middle school is a schools to watch school. So I commend
well done. Yeah.
the entire school and Beth Williams on such a fine presentation.
Thank you. I do want to say, too, I want to congratulate the high school again one more time for the tremendous spring musical. I mean, that was just a joy to watch, and such talent. Mr. Ritchie and his staff, boy, they just pulled off every year. Yep. They really did.
They
and
did.
Just
It was
great job.
wonderful.
It's just so enjoyable to watch. So it's really proud of all the students the way they performed on stage. You could tell they had a lot of fun and really enjoyed what they were doing up there. Any other comments? Mr.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate the elementary bands for their concert.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, this was a special year for me. Mr. Lucas and Ms. Weber invite the 6th grade parents to come up and play with or not all the parents, I'm sorry, all the parents to play with the 6th grade band, but my son is a alto saxophone player in the 6th grade band this year, and I play a tenor saxophone, so I got to sit almost right behind him and play
Were you
on
the one with the
stage with him.
sunglasses on?
No, that was, I think it was the 5th grade band.
Okay.
So thanks for allowing us to come up and play with the students. It's really fun to do something like that.
Oh, yeah, that was great, I'm sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Joe. Anybody else? Okay. I don't believe we have anybody signed up for public comments on the agenda items, so we'll move on to, we're going to move to Mr. John Thomas in the second row to talk about the middle school construction project. Give us an update.
Just say that was a little strange.
Thank you.
Okay, you'll recall last time we got together that we had moved pretty far ahead of schedule. We continue to move ahead of schedule. Now the contractors are actually working on the work that was originally planned for the summer. So we're well ahead of schedule, and we're going to stay that way. The planned work for this period, it almost doesn't mean anything anymore because we've gotten so far ahead, but it was to complete that final renovation area, but that was done the previous month. And we then reset the schedule and And we've been moving on with the summer renovations in rooms 104, 106, and 110. And little recap here. Completed that 10th sequence. Completed the renovations in 104, 106, 108, and 110. Completed the renovations in the A area. Replaced the unit ventilators and chilled water system. And installed the chilled water piping and pads in the boiler room. Again, that central plant work was planned for the summer, so we're moving quite a bit ahead. You'll recall that, let me just recap this again. At the very beginning of the project, we had that delay where we had the delay in the delivery, we fell behind schedule. Gradually picked it up, moved ahead of schedule. We had planned to be working on these areas now. They were done 2 months ago. So we took this entire summer phase and we pulled it through. It's actually possible that if we could get into all of the areas, that we could complete the entire project before the summer begins. They are actually on course to do that. Now we've added some things like the flooring, which is we'll wait till the summers until all the kids are out until we move ahead in earnest with the flooring. But this project is running very, very smoothly. And I'm not going to get into all the details of smoothness that we have. You can look at your report. And I do want to go over a couple of the change order requests that I'm going to ask you to approve. And they are the only degrees of non-smoothness that we have at this point. So I'm going to skip forward to those. And I can come back to if there's any questions on the overall budget, but it's very much intact. So we have two up for approval. The first one is to remove some additional asbestos floor tile, and I'll tell you that all efforts were made by your asbestos abatement designer to find this tile. And he actually inspected right around it. He knew that the tile was there, inspected around it, and it came up negative. We removed the unit ventilator and tested it again, and it was positive. So this is $1,100 to remove that asbestos. And I will say that, despite how well things are running, we have encountered quite a few anomalies in the construction, things that took place in the 1997-98 project, that not everything was done the same way everywhere. And this would be an example of one of those. And this second item, this is actually starting to become a little embarrassing. The packaged through-the-wall air conditioning units, so there's 18 of them that we use in the office areas. It's like a hotel unit. I've been to you already to get, I think, three change orders approved already on these PTACs. And the PTACs actually weren't even part of the original scope. It was something we had planned on leaving in, and Mr. Swindell had asked us, hey, while we're here, we might as well change them out. I have yet one more other change order associated with these PTACs for $1,433.92. When the electrical contractor went to turn on the power, he found that instead of the PTACs being controlled with an automatic temperature control system, they were being controlled with a relay. So essentially, the control on the unit was an on-off switch that somebody could trigger a relay, and it would turn all of them off through the control system that you had in the building. So I apologize for all this chaos that's going on associated with these particular units. Any questions on the change orders?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I wasn't quite sure on the first one. You said the tested negative at first and then positive. Is this?
First they thought it was positive. They had identified it as a probable asbestos-containing material. They tested near it, couldn't get under the unit, so they tested right in front of it, and it tested okay.
Okay,
So they didn't put it into the scope of work. Removed the unit and saw that actually under the unit, it was different.
okay, so it was just a matter of access at the time.
It was access, but you know, usually if you can see the tile that's running right up to it, you can and it's a relatively new unit ventilator, you can conclude that it isn't hot, but in this case, it was.
Okay,
And most of the others weren't. Most of the others, the tile ran under the unit. This is an instance where, for whatever reason, they left the old tile under the new unit. Any other questions on change orders? Let me just show you a few pictures. Got a little variety this time. This is the main chiller piping that's going in down in the boiler room. And you can see it's some pretty good sized pipe. This will send the chilled water through the building. This is about the last leg of the central system. So you'll have the pumps will go in, the chillers will go outside. This work, by the way, a lot of the work they've been able to do on daylight. This work, because it involves welding, we've pushed it off to the evenings. You can see some pretty hefty stuff going in. I don't know what all the excitement was about this one, branch piping. There's a new branch piping going in. This is what you've been seeing all along, and now we're just in one of the summer areas we didn't think we would get to. More branch piping there. And another plenum and a unit ventilator. So they were planning on starting the foundations for the chiller out behind the building. You'll recall we moved that back with a change order several months ago. They didn't get to that because of the weather that we've been having, but they are in a very comfortable position to get this thing done for you for the start of school, maybe before. Any other questions in general?
No, I guess not.
Yes, Mr. Nudie?
Is there any chance of having air conditioning in May?
No.
Okay.
Good answer, John, good answer. Don't you hate those kind of people?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thanks again, folks.
I just have to say, I'll speak for myself, I'm certainly not speaking on behalf of the board, but at least over these, with all our construction projects that have gone on, I have to tell you, I've never seen a district run so smooth with construction projects. I mean, and all the, the kudos to Dave, I know how closely you watch these things, and certainly John and the rest of the administration. I'm not going to mention any names, but there are a lot of districts out there with construction issues that weigh cost overruns and just all kinds of problems. I have to tell you, it's almost boring. I mean, you really don't have much to say.
I guess you guys are getting good at it.
I guess. But it's really been, yeah, it's real, and thanks to you, John, obviously, I know you play an integral part in all this, but I just have to tell you, it's been all the construction we've been dealing with over the last 5 to 7 years has just been, it's gone, really, we've had minor glitches, and it's gone pretty well. And so I think you all are to be commended on that, but it's just obviously my opinion. I'm not asking anybody else to share that with me.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you soon.
See you, John.
Well, that was before 7 years. Okay, I guess we're going to move on now to Dr. Taylor and the library.
Just a very quick update. We've had several additional meetings in the last month, including 2 half-day meetings, excuse me, with our librarians and our furniture vendors, and we're looking at different kinds of furniture for our libraries. We initiated a new weeding policy and procedure so that all the librarians have consistent guidelines in terms of how you remove books from the libraries. And we are working with the architect and John on some kind of tweaks to the high school library project right now. And I know John mentioned, I know John met with the architects, I believe, this week on looking at changes to the ceiling of the high school library. So that's where we are right now.
Great, thank you. Okay, we could move on to education. I guess that would be Mrs. Bender.
There's one item on the education agenda, and that is the Connections Learning Agreement. Does anyone have any questions concerning it?
Yes, I had, this online learning curriculum, is that the, like the study aids that they can go on at home, or what exactly?
This contract pays for the curriculum and the program and the cost of the online teacher for our K-6 students who choose to have a fully online learning experience.
So this is like, they're in school, or is this at home?
They're at home,
Like, this is the cyber school?
correct.
Okay. Then the only question I had, so this is just for K through 6
Yes.
here. I think the agreement, it says K through 12.
We have the opportunity to add semester courses if for whatever reason we need a semester course at the middle school or high school, and we currently do not have that course on our program of studies. I have that in the contract in case we need it for some reason.
That's good, yeah.
Okay, so it's just an option then. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Mr. Needy has a question.
Is it possible if we could get the enrollment up, that we should be looking down the road where we bring this in-house, have it taught by our instructors?
We had a very capable online instructor last year, but for various reasons, she resigned from that position. We posted it internally, and there were no candidates that applied.
Maybe John Thomas could take care of that.
There you go.
The construction guy, he's busy enough.
Dr. Nudie.
Dr. Nudie, whoever he is, right?
I think that'd be something we should try to look forward in the future, to bring this, all of our cyber training in-house, rather than farming it out.
Good point. Okay, Arlene?
I'd like to make a motion to add the education item to the legislative meeting agenda for approval.
Second.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
Please.
Dr. Taylor, I feel very frustrated. There's never anything on education anymore. Where is it?
We're not doing it anymore.
We're not doing
No, we
education?
decided we
Okay.
decided not to address that anymore.
I was just curious, you know, that's all. Thank you. That's it.
I didn't, I'm just joking with you, you know that.
I know.
Okay. All righty. Let's move to, looks like there isn't anything under technology, Mr. Muha, unless there is something that you need to add that we didn't.
Now, Mrs. Bender had more than I did.
Okay. Okay. All right, I guess athletics and activities. Dr. Nolish isn't here this evening. Would anybody,
I'll take
would you
it.
like to take that? Thank you.
Sure. We have the slow pitch softball reimbursement request, bowling club reimbursement request, ice hockey reimbursement request, and the inline roller hockey reimbursement request. Are there any questions about these reimbursement requests?
I'm under the impression these are all within normal.
Yeah, I looked them over, because last year my concern was they were putting banquets on there, cakes, things of that nature, which we do not reimburse.
Oh,
So
okay.
I went through that, and everything's
took
in
'em
line.
off.
They took them off.
Yes.
And they'll do this every April. This is also
Right.
part of the
Yeah.
renewal of their club sport status, and so everything that they've turned in is all, meets the requirements. They all receive their status, they all receive their reimbursements. Everything is clean. I know that Dr. Venata worked closely with Mrs. Zimmerman and with Dr. Dietrich to make sure that everything was as it should be, based upon the policy and how we have the club sports guidelines established. So we're good to go with all four of them.
I do have a couple questions, though. Some of them I noticed take their bylaws through, they don't have their own, they use others. I don't know if I want to go as far as saying that's not a good practice, but I'm wondering why wouldn't these organizations have their own set of bylaws to operate under?
When you say others, are you talking others within our district or just other bylaws from outside the
Well,
district?
I think one is within our district.
Okay.
I think the softball uses Westview Ross.
Oh, okay.
And then, but I think, is it the bowling that uses I don't know what I can't remember what the organizing body is, but,
I would imagine, and again, I'm just speculating with this, but I would imagine that's the discretion of the organizers and the sponsors of those club sports. Under our policy, we do not mandate that they create their own. They want to borrow from a previous organization that they worked with that they like, they are permitted to do so. They just need to make sure they have those bylaws and those bylaws are approved. There is a chain with that. Mrs. Zimmerman, Dr. Dietrich, and then myself. If there's an issue, any red flags along that journey, we will address it and speak to that.
Good point.
There being no other questions, I'd like to make a motion to add the athletic and activities items to the legislative meeting agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. Bender, I'll leave this with you. We don't have anything under Beatty for the agenda, but is there anything that, I know we have some,
Mrs.
I
Reed?
do.
okay.
I have two things.
Sure.
One, the board would like to congratulate the following students that were named Student of the Month for March and April. We have under Advertising Design, Joseph Novosel, Agile Robotics, Aileen Hurt, Auto Technology, Thomas Bradley, Emergency Response Technology, Dylan Coleman, Health Science Technology, Brennan Harris, and Jean Imler. Congratulations. And also on the back table, I put a few of these and gave each baby's summer camp information on it. There's some flyers in the back. However, Amanda has it on the website. So if you know of anybody that would be interested, please have them go to the website, because this camp is a very wonderful program for the summer.
Aren't they having a Saturday STEAM initiative or something?
Yeah, they
This
are.
Saturday or next Saturday?
Yes, in fact, I was going to bring it up. There's two things that are coming up. You have the STEAM Saturday initiative on the 18th,
And
April
that's,
18th.
that's for the elementary age children.
Correct.
Right.
And this is too. This is
Right.
elementary
Yeah.
ed. So, John, take a look at this, because this is really great stuff. And the other thing is, on the 20th, at 6 p.m., they will be having the induction of the Northern Technology Honor Society of Beatty. And it's just amazing how that's grown, but because they have just as much criteria in order to be on their honor society as our kids do
Great.
here. But that's on the 20th.
I normally go to that. I'm not sure if I can go this year or not, but I know that the last couple of years that I was really proud of the fact that there's a large number of North Hill students that are
Absolutely.
represented in
That's the
the,
other
in
thing.
the National Technical Honor Society. And you'll also recognize those students at commencement because they wear a purple cord that designates the fact that not only did they attend Beatty Tech, but they held a high GPA in the home school district with the courses that they're taking back here. And it is really nice to see the number of North Hill students that do qualify for the National Honor Society out at Beatty through the technical program. I don't think I'm available on Monday, or else I would be there. If that changes, I will be there, because I think it's really nice. It's a
They
nice
do,
ceremony, and
right.
again, we have a lot of kids represented.
And Mrs. Reed, I hope you remember, because I have cobwebs in my brain at this point in time. We had our meeting last Thursday, and the meal was prepared by, actually, two of the students were there serving it. But these students, there were 4 of them, and they had gone to one of their
State,
competitions.
yeah, competitions. state
They came in
competition.
second. Now, they got, between the 4 of them, I think it was, what, how many thousands of dollars in?
It could be worth 17,000, depending upon what school they go
They
to.
choose.
Wow.
Now,
But-
one of our students last year ended up with a full boat.
Wow.
And we had there a young woman who made dessert. She is a North Hills graduate. She got first place, and I would like to be able to honor her if we could at our meeting next time. I will get you her name. I have it at home, and she made a beautiful cake. She came in first place, and I think she got $6,000 in scholarship, and she was going to go on, I think this month or next month, for another one.
And where
But
do they
we
go?
do have a lot of students that are recognized.
Where do they go,
there.
like to the Culinary Institute, or is it?
Yes.
Some of them,
Well, not
IUP, some of them are going to
IUP,
parent.
okay.
IUP must
Okay,
have a
that's
good.
Yeah,
great.
they have a
Right, and
culinary
also
program.
there's one of the students is looking at going to, there's a culinary school in New York.
Right, that's a big one there.
So it isn't just, you know, these culinary schools.
Sure.
We should be very proud of those students. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Personnel. Would like to
Mr.
take,
Kelly
Mr.
isn't
Kelly
here.
is not here, but I just, if that's the case, I'll be glad to take it. There are just actually 3 items on the agenda. Actually, there's, I guess, 4. There's resignations, appointments, and there is other. Let me just see if I can open that up here while
Leave of absence.
we're, yeah. Is it the invoice? Oh, this is from Dr. Potter, right? The Genesis Medical. Are there any questions with regards to the items that are on personnel? Okay, that being said, I'd like to make a motion that the items 1 through 4 be placed on the agenda for the legislative meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Now we can move on to Mrs. Reed, and that would be policy. It looks like you've got some
Oh,
policies.
yeah, we have a few here, policies. And basically, the policies that we're amending is due to the fact the state has come up with new clearances that they must have updated. And so therefore, we had to change our policies to include the new. And basically, first is the change of policy to 813 club sports. The next one is 916 for chaperones. Changes to 917 for volunteers. Now, let me here, I want to read this to you right. Okay. The updated clearances now are consider Act 153, 126, and 168. Now, you notice on here questions about FBI clearances. That is included now under Act 126. So it's not that, right? 168.
153.
You were close.
That's the other
That's
one.
okay.
Hey, I was
Whatever
around
it
the
takes.
But who's
block.
counting, Kathy?
I know, I don't even have my glasses on and I'm doing it. huh?
It's somewhere between 0 and 200.
Really here, yeah. And then 168, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is what's called the Trash Act, where they have, is that correct? Where they now have to send to their, whoever they were employed by prior to us, and they have to fill that out and send it in. Now, all our teachers, I believe, have to have all new clearances by the end of December. And these
Well,
ones,
not, it's 3 years, so
Oh,
anybody
okay.
that, once we hit January 1st,
okay,
anybody whose clearances expire within that 3-year
Then they-
period have to have them done by that date. So for example, if somebody was hired, or somebody's clearances were May 1st of 2012,
okay,
then they have to have all of their clearances completed and into human resources by May 1st of 2015. And we do
Okay.
have teachers that fall within that window
Right.
because of when they were hired. Everybody else that's outside of that window, like me, for example, my clearances were whenever I was hired as assistant superintendent. So
Right.
mine would be due December 31st. So anybody that's in that boat, John Thomas, most of that side of the room, theirs are due by December 31st.
what about these?
Yeah, this is.
the
now-
volunteers,
Now that you're beyond January 1st, it's, if you don't have clearances, you have to get your clearances in order to be eligible to be a volunteer, to be a chaperone.
This year, like.
Yes.
this year.
I had,
Yes.
I'm chaperoning the Highcliffe Kennywood 6th grade picnic
Right.
next month, and I got a email a week or 10 days ago that said I gotta get my butt.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you better.
So I
do
went
that.
online, I killed pretty much an entire night navigating 3 different websites.
You gonna be
to-
okay?
Paid about $60.
Yep.
Yeah,
And had to take a printout and go to the UPS store in Oakland to
Right,
get my
and be
fingerprints.
Yep.
So that was a lovely little procedure to
Been there,
go
done
through
that.
to
We've
take my
also-
kids to Kennywood.
And in the situation you're in as a parent, we've recognized that, and we've also told our schools that in the event that you are short chaperones, I would be more than happy to chaperone a field trip, and so would everybody sitting on that side of the room, because our clearances are all up to date. So it's not that, well, we can't send the students to the Pittsburgh Zoo this year because there's not enough parent chaperones. There's enough of us, and we'll go. Dr. Venata can't wait to go to the zoo, so we are gonna do that.
I'm happy to do it, but
Right.
when I found out all what was involved, it
Right.
was just,
shocking.
yeah, it was
Dave-
shocking.
Dave Hall shaking his head no.
And also, I'd like to add that all these changes made, It's no cost to the district.
Yeah.
Everybody assumes their own responsibility, volunteer, chaperones, whoever, coaches.
I have two questions. First of all, the question is, if I, for instance, was fingerprinted about 2 years ago for my license, my insurance license, would I be required to have to be re-fingerprinted?
It's a good question, because we have parents that are in that same situation. We have parents that work for Children's Hospital, nurses,
Yep.
and that have been cleared under a different FBI clearance agency. The state of Pennsylvania for Education is using Cogent. So with that example, they send theirs directly to me. And I review them, and last time I checked, there's only one FBI, so if you're clear, regardless of whether you use Cogent or whatever other companies are out there clearing FBIs, then that way it takes it off of the building principals, it takes it off of human resources, that those parents just send their clearances to me. So
The
yes,
clearances,
you're-
but I
you're
don't have,
cleared.
I don't have proof of FBI other than I had it done. It was required.
There would be a way for you to get it, that there's a number that
Okay.
you were given that would then generate a printout. Now, what happens is that printout is unofficial. But
Okay.
they're official with the numbers, and Val can then look up the Cogent.
However, I just
Fingerprinted
want to
ones.
mention, the fingerprints only stay in the system 90 days, so your fingerprints
They're probably gone.
are probably not in the system.
I can pull off
It's
that
been 2
bank heist then, right? I'm
I
safe.
also wanted to mention, this is not just teachers, this is every employee of the district, including our substitutes.
So my second question is, who's going to monitor this? Who's going to be the watchdog? Val, I know you do this with the certifications, et cetera, but is it going to be your responsibility to let these people know when they're due, or is it up to the employee?
Every employee in December of 2014 received an email from me with their specific due date. If they did not submit the clearances by that due date, they will be suspended without pay.
Till they get it.
Unfortunately, we had to do that one time. I think that lesson went out. Should someone submit a clearance that has an item that precludes their employment, we need to take action accordingly, and we are hoping that does not occur.
There's no leeway in the law. It is must be removed, is the
Right.
way it's stated.
But I guess my question is, are other districts, is it the responsibility of the district to monitor this, or is it the responsibility of the employee? Nobody in my office monitors when my license is due. And I'm just saying, is that what the state is telling us to do? Is that what the other districts are doing?
I'm not sure, but I know this is the procedure we developed for
And I don't
our
have a problem
employees.
either way. I just want to make sure somebody is going to be
It is the
responsible.
employee's responsibility.
Ultimately,
Yes.
it's the employee's
Ultimately, yes.
responsibility.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
But
All
I also
questions
know, not
answered?
speaking for your department there, that Annie also has a spreadsheet and is kind of monitoring those that are coming due in the near future and is communicating with them to make sure that we don't get into that situation. It was that initial push that when the letters went out in December, like Val said, that we had a group of people that were in February, late February, early March, and some of them waited. And once you waited and the system began to get flooded with people getting their clearances, then that wait time went from mine, which I did mine in January, it took me 90 minutes, and all 3 clearances were back, cleared too, Lou. All 3 were back in 90 minutes. Val did hers the next day, and she was about 2 weeks at that point. So it just shows you how that system became flooded, and we've been communicating.
Reports are, you get there, you're in a line.
We've been communicating with
Just from
people as to
everywhere.
not wait, don't wait. If you are one of those people that your clearances become basically outdated on December 31st, please do not wait till the fall, because it's, you have no idea what that system's gonna look like at that time with the number of people that are attempting to get their clearances, because the majority of the employees are in that December 31st ballpark.
But so now I'm a seasoned employee and I decide, well, it's summer break, I'm going to go do it in the summer. I'm going to do July 1st.
Yeah.
Now, does my new effective date become July 1st
3 years
every
later.
3 years?
No, well then, so your clearance.
Or is it 12?
It's when the earliest
12/31?
clearance was established, so, let's say you get your state police one back quickly on July 1st, but the other ones didn't get here till the 15th or whatever. Then with this case, on July 1st of 2018, your clearances are now out of date and expired.
So
So
I
you
have
have
to
to
go
get it
be-
before July 1st of 2018, and then every 3 years. I know they've talked about some wiggle room with that they may move to 5 at some point, but right now it is established at 3.
I think 3's great.
And we are working with our software company. They're going to hopefully have on our web portal, everyone will have their clearance date. Just add 3 years to that, you know what your next due date is.
That'd be good, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All questions answered? Okay, therefore I move that items 1 through 3 under policy be added to the legislative meeting agenda for second reading and approval.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Reed.
Welcome.
We can move on to Mr. Yeomans and intergovernmental relations.
Okay, we have one item on the agenda, and that's Mr. Nudi's request to attend the PSBA 2015 Advocacy Forum in Mechanicsburg on April 19th and 20th. And I don't know, Lou, do you want to talk about what this event's all about? And
Well, it's a two-day affair. The first day is on Sunday. We meet and we agree on what we're going to address when we visit with the legislators on Monday. It's a good opportunity. I'm on the platform committee. It's a good opportunity for me to lay groundwork for platform items. And case in point was getting Dr. Manarino's platform on cyber charter schools approved 2 years ago. And it's a result of me getting involved and going down there and laying the groundwork. So that's basically it. And I've been very much involved in the legislative aspects of public education, and I think this is a good opportunity for me and for the district.
Thank you.
so I would recommend adding that item to the legislative agenda.
We have a second.
Second.
Thank you.
And just as a note, on the business and mercantile tax item that we approved, I guess a few months back now, we reported last month, I believe, that Ross had approved it, and now Westview has
Westview
as
did,
well.
so
So,
that-
so I guess at this point, our mutual solicitor will, I don't know if the language has been drafted, or,
Yeah, he drafted a language document,
okay, so we're ready to
and
go.
that is what Westview actually approved.
Okay, so that is now in effect then, and will take effect, the amnesty period will start June 1st, correct?
Okay, so we'll be working on the forms as well as the marketing aspect of it.
Okay,
To
great.
get the information out to the public before the June 1st start date.
And one other quick item along the lines of legislative advocacy. I'm going to, and I believe Lou as well, and Dr. Taylor, be attending the annual roundtable that they have with legislators and board members from our intermediate unit district. That's this coming Thursday, which unfortunately conflicts with our legislative board meeting. I believe, John Thomas, you were there last year too as well. So it's another good opportunity to engage with our legislators, particularly in a year where there's lots of changes, a new governor, a new education secretary, and lots of changes being entertained for the funding of public education. So I don't like to have to miss a board meeting, but I do believe that's a worthwhile thing as intergovernmental liaison for me to attend.
Great, thank you. All right, we could move on to finance, and I'm going to ask Mr. Burnett to take finance.
Thank you, Mr. Wilgus. First, general fund bills, the construction fund bills, budget transfers. Anybody have any questions on those? Mr. Hall, nothing to point out of those. They're just, that's what I thought. I looked at them too. They look pretty good. The payroll for the month of March, also have to approve. The next one is the AIU 2015-2016 program of service budget. We vote on this every year, and they've asked this year for a 1% increase, which I think is okay. I mean, it's within reason as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
The next thing is the treasurer's report. Mr. Hall, do you have the treasurer's report? Anything to,
It's self-explanatory, I think.
okay. Anybody have any questions on the treasurer's report? Okay. Next thing we have is a request for the tax payer for a waiver of real estate tax costs. We actually have two of these. The very first one I looked at, I think everybody got a copy of the appeal from the, the constituent, and what he's saying is what we see a lot is he no longer has a mortgage company. I think he took this upon himself and decided to pay it out of a loan type that he took out himself. They sent the mortgage bill to, or the tax bill to his mortgage company. Mortgage company failed to send it on to us, and he's asking for a waiver on the taxes and the cost. So that's something that we should consider and vote on. The other one is a little different. It's another taxpayer, but it's it looks like a church that I guess this real estate property was willed to them through an estate, and I guess a lot of paperwork had gone through. To make a long story short, it's very, very minimal late fees and penalties. However, it was an estate, and it took all kind of time to get through, and they were late with paying their taxes. So another one of the waivers that we have to look at.
If I could, I just had a question on it. So that's the issue there, because I was looking at that and I was kind of confused, because church typically is not a tax-paying entity.
Correct.
Right?
But I guess they have to tax through the estate, and I'm not an attorney.
Okay. 'Cause-
but-
And I
They
know
were still-
this church has been here for quite a
Oh, Dave,
while.
Dave, yeah.
Churches are only tax exempt for the church itself.
Okay.
So if they have a house on the property, that's not tax exempt. Church parking lots are not tax exempt. I'm not sure what this particular parcel is, but it didn't look to me like it was a tax exempt parcel. They were trying to get it tax exempt,
Yes.
Okay.
but it didn't look like they ever got it tax exempt. And in the time that they spent trying to get it tax exempt, they became delinquent.
Correct, yeah. And we still don't know if it was actually, if it's going to be tax exempt or not at this point.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in there
Okay.
that showed that they had gotten an exemption.
Okay. And let's see, just a summary of the revenues and expenditures for the month of March 2015. Also informational items are the revenue summary for 2014-2015 as of March 15th. Anybody have any questions on any of those? Okay. I move that items 1 through 8 under finance be added to the legislative meeting agenda for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Tim. We can now move on to support services. Mr. Nudi.
There are 5 items on the agenda for support services. First is paint of the middle school lockers. They are, in some cases, definitely in need of paint. And I think Dr. Manarino felt that being that we're getting new tile put down, we repaint the lockers to fit with the new color motif in the school. And we're talking
Color motif?
$13,000 roughly for the painting of all the lockers in the middle school. The middle school construction change orders, we discussed that earlier. And Mr. Hall, the middle school roof repairs, could you kind of address that rather quickly?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier when we were putting the whole middle school project together. But the roof is, some sections of the roof are 25 years old or better. Other sections of the roof were put on in 1998. We had a roofing consultant go through and look at it and give us an opinion as to what types of things should be done to extend its life and repair it. So we put that together as a bid package and put it out to bid, and this is the result of those bids. The lowest bid was from, I believe it was Stringent Roofing Company for $81,000.
What portion or percentage of the roof is being addressed through this? Any rough estimate?
It's basically some patching and some sealing, especially around the perimeter.
Okay.
It is not replacing of any significant amount of the roof.
Okay.
The replacement of this roof will be a better than $1 million project. It's a big, big, big roof.
Maybe we just go to Home Depot and get a big tarp.
How far away are we from something like that?
Well, with this project, we should be at least 5 years.
Okay.
It should extend the life at least 5 years on us. Sections of it are beyond the original estimated life expectancy, but it was a really good roof.
Yeah.
The ones that were put on in 1998, that section, which is all the new gymnasium, all the cafeteria area, and essentially up to about the main lobby entry. That was all done in 1998, and that was a 20-year roof. So you're coming up to its life expectancy, but it's in pretty decent shape. It just needs to be proactively maintained.
Okay.
And that's what this is.
Thank you.
Next item is the middle school wall repairs. I just have a question, I know the caulking on the walls was 17 years ago. Is that, we at the life expectancy on that, or was there a problem with the original compounds that were used, or?
No, that's beyond the normal life expectancy of it. And that is the bulk of this project is caulking. There is some repointing, but most of it is just caulking. It's a very, very large building envelope,
We can consider that fair wear and tear.
yes.
And the next item is the Martorella Stadium running track. Does anybody have any comments on that?
Yes, I had questions on that. You know, when this first came up, I brought up the point about there's different surfaces and, you know, what were we gonna allow people to do? Were we gonna allow people to ride their bikes on the track? And, you know, a lot of these tracks are very soft and can be torn up very easily if misused. And I was wondering, you know, I was reading this, but I'm still not sure exactly what track surface we are recommending, and
What we are recommending is the base bid, which is essentially the same track and same quality of track as the original installation. Kevin, did you bring those samples? Mr. Swindell has samples of the base bid as well as the two alternates.
Is it the same as Ross, Dave, that we just put in?
No, it's better quality
better?
than Ross.
This is the base bid, and then two alternates.
Well, you know, we can put
Essentially,
any
the base
sign down
bid
there
should
we
have
want.
a longer life
But you need
expectancy,
someone to police it.
and it is
They
a,
don't pay
it
no
is a
attention.
better track for practice and for general usage. Probably the two alternate bids are a faster track for performance, but won't last as long and are not recommended for practice or general use.
Right. So we need to get something that's more durable,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
That's our recommendation.
so is the bidder, ATT, do they have a recommendation on what should be, let's say, limited? Because I know some tracks, some facilities, when they get a new track in, like, they actually limit use and maybe even put in a turnstile or something to, therefore you can't get a bicycle through a turnstile. Is this something that they would recommend, or?
We didn't have any conversations with the contractor and themselves other than, here's what we're expecting you to install, what's your bid?
Okay, well,
Now, the consultant, I don't know, Kevin, did the consultant have any recommendations on that?
No, we never had that discussion as far as limiting the use of the track.
maybe that's a discussion the consultant should have with the bidder. Because, I mean, we don't want to spend this kind of money and then have it torn up, you know,
No,
prematurely.
but this is the same surface that we're recommending is the same surface that's been there
Yeah.
since the track was built.
And when was that put,
That's
the track?
14 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten its
2000,
good wear and
2001.
tear out of it, and to me, you can put any sign down there you want.
Yeah.
People are gonna ignore it, they're gonna do what they wanna do, you'd have to have it policed,
Well, that's why I
somebody
mentioned
down
some
there,
people
security.
put a turnstile in.
Oh, I
But
think
you still have to
that's-
get the equipment down in there to cut the grass, and I don't
Yeah.
know. You'd have to put another gate in there if he puts a turnstile?
No, we have gates to get equipment in.
You do? Okay, so that wouldn't be, it's just the addition. You know what, well, I was gonna say you could put those poles in like we have at the stadium, but that won't work.
Yeah.
No,
Because the kids can ride a bike right through those poles.
yeah.
Doing some drainage improvements, it's hopefully extend the life of this application.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, is the drainage improvements.
Yeah.
Something like this so the water just doesn't sit on it. Okay. Okay.
I move that items 1 through 5 under support services be added to the legislative meeting agenda for approval.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, before we close the meeting, this is the time that we welcome additional public comments that really doesn't address anything on the agenda. And we have two individuals this evening that would like to address the board. So if you, I don't know if you have the statement to read handy there, Mr. Nudi, but as always, we'd like you to get up there and state your name and address for the record. And before you get up there, Dee, you'll be first. We'll have Mr. Nudi read our, or you can go up there now, but we'll have Mr. Nudi read our public participation policy.
We would like to invite any members of the public who wish to address the board to come forward at this time. It is our policy to strongly encourage such public participation inasmuch as it provides the board with an important source of ideas as well as informs us of many concerns in the district. The board does reserve the right, however, to limit the amount of time allotted for public discussion of any particular speaker or speakers and/or issues in the interest of preserving an orderly and effective public meeting. Items must be submitted in writing to the board president for consideration 5 days prior to the board meeting. Items dealing with Title I and Title VI can be addressed. Some of your concerns can be immediately and quickly addressed following your comments, while others may require some more research and discussion. When appropriate, you're welcome to further discuss your concerns with us following the meeting. We appreciate your interest.
You want to talk about Seville? Are you going to make an offer?
You want me to give my name?
Go ahead.
D. Spade, 104 Wanker Drive, Ross Township. No, I'm just here to ask if there's been any more interest in Seville?
I'm not aware of any, but I shouldn't say it. I think there's been some calls, but Dave, you could probably address that better than I could.
Yeah, there hasn't been any more interest since the last meeting, but there still are two parties that have at least expressed some interest. Again, as we discussed the last time, one of them is looking at the potential for veterans housing, and the other is looking for the potential for a Christian school.
Okay, thank you. And Pat, Mr. Manarino, I would like to thank you for returning the lights on at Seville.
You're welcome.
My neighbors said to thank you. They really appreciate it. And a few of the kids in the morning said thank you. So thank you for hearing me, and
You're welcome.
Yeah, I
good night.
guess it does get pretty dark down there, right? Okay, all right, okay. Thank you, Dee. Robin Mullen.
You are kind.
Hi, Robin Mullen, 315 Jacks Run Road, Ross Township. My question is, are you getting rid of books from the library in the high school and the junior high?
That's a great question. Dr. Taylor.
Some of them we will get rid of, some of them we're going to put in storage.
The reason I'm asking is my daughter, who's a North Hills alum, she's on the board for the United Way, and they're trying to restock a library.
Okay.
And she's very interested in taking some of those books if you're giving them away.
Not to, I was gonna say, have her contact Dr. Taylor.
Yeah.
Not to throw it out there, I know that's what he was just gonna say. Have her contact Dr. Taylor and
Okay.
we'll work with them on those.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I'm-
for
I'm-
United
yeah,
Way.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Is that what you were gonna say, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Okay, that being said, I guess we just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion.
Okay, meeting adjourned, thank you.
Another excellent job.
Thank you.
Yeah.